Hi, Fred, FR5ED here with a quick beer review. This is Anderson Valley's Briney Melon Gose. I've heard different pronunciations. I do believe it's Gose or Gosa. And this says it's brewed with natural flavor. A friend of mine, good friend of mine, Tom, and his wife Barbara, gave this to me, and I'm finally getting around to trying it. It's been over a week since they, in fact, it's been almost 2 weeks since they gave it to me. So anyway, I don't know anything about it yet. I'm going to look up here in, let's see, in Beer Advocate, it comes in at a 3.93 out of 5 after 731 ratings. And it says that it is 4.2 ABV, so a nice sessionable beer. And it says, born from our passion for experimentation, our Briney Melon Gose boasts a thirst-quenching tartness. Well, Goses often have that. And it's perfectly balanced by subtle watermelon flavors and aromas. Gentle additions of sea salt create a refreshing harmony between the acidity and fruit sweetness, leading to a clean, dry finish. Very interestingly, I stopped in a local ABC yesterday just to grab one 6-pack of beer to take to a gathering last night. I didn't want to try to bottle and take any of my home brew. That hasn't worked out that well because I don't really, not quite set up to do that, and I just didn't want to risk taking anything that wasn't representative of the good beer that I brew. So anyway, I stopped in, and there was a representative from, can't remember the name of the brewery in Illinois. It's 2.5 miles from Chicago, according to the rep. But anyway, they had a Gose, he was having me taste, that had watermelon and sea salt. So very much like this, at least in description. So we'll find out what that's like in a moment. Let's see, it says the sweetness leads to a clean, dry finish. I think I read that. Now, over on, and I hate to go there, but I will, to rate beer. Here they had, how many tastings? How many, I can't tell. Oh, 341 ratings. It's an 89 overall out of 100 and a 90 in style. And it has the same description there. And finally, on Untapped, where you get the real numbers, oh my word. All right, 111,000 reviews with 88,000 plus of those being unique reviews. Amazing. So anyway, they rated their overall a 3.78 out of 5. So almost a 4 out of 5. Not bad, not bad. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what we discover. And I'm going to use my Galway Bay glass that I got in Galway, Ireland. It's a nice tulip that I go to quite a lot lately, especially when I'm going out to pull just a few ounces of my own beers. I think this is only about a 10 ouncer, so you know it's nice when you don't want to pull a pint. Okay, this is pretty darn clear, and it is in the 5 range on the SRM scale. Hard for you to see on the camera probably, unless this were up against a white background, but I do have it up against a white background, and I'm getting 5, somewhere between 4 and 6, 5 and 6, so nice. It's got a nice dense white head on it, and let's see, a couple fingers. It's mostly dense, that's for sure. Let's smell it. You can smell, oh, it made my mouth water. You can smell the tartness, probably the lactobacillus is used. You can smell the watermelon, and it's almost like a Sweet-Tart candy smell, except I don't smell a lot of sweetness. I get that tart and I get that watermelon. That's a pleasant aroma. I'm just hoping they didn't go overboard with the watermelon, however they got it in there, that it's just a nice supporting adjunct. Let me get past the tartness and get another couple sips in there so my palate settles in. Wow. Okay. Now that because I'm used to expecting bitterness from hops. And there's no real bitterness. In fact, the aroma is a little bit of malt, and if there's any fruit, it's the watermelon. I'm trying to see, is there any citrusy, floral essence from any hops. I don't think so. There may be a touch of lemon back there, but I may be imagining that. Certainly there's hops, and they're meant to balance. Beers that are not pale ales and IPAs, especially American styles, are not going to have a lot of hop presence. Hops are basically just used to balance out any malt sweetness. This is very tart forward. So the lactobacillus or whatever they use to get the tartness in there during fermentation is the main attention grabber. But it's not overpowering. And it's not long lasting. It's fading over time. And it does really remind me of a Sweet-Tart because I've got a fruit flavor in the watermelon. And I've got the tartness that just draws the saliva out. You know how when you eat something tart like a Sweet-Tart, you kind of get a very bold rush from the saliva glands to meet that oncoming tartness. That is refreshing. That is tasty. It's not something you'd gulp probably, even though it's only 4.2%. My mouth's still watering. But that is very tasty. I don't know that I would grab this on a regular basis, but it sure seems like a nice summertime, springtime beer here in the middle of November. But in Florida, oh my gosh, it's 86 right now, and we are at, what time in the afternoon? 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So anyway, I'm going to very much enjoy the rest of this. And the sea salt part, let me address that. Am I tasting any more saltiness than usual? I can sense it there. There are some styles, I won't quote any because I can't think of any right offhand. There are some styles that call for a more sodium presence in the water. And I don't know that it's really intended to season the beer like you would season food with salt, so you're aware of a salt presence. The times I've used more than the average amount of salt just because the recipe called for it. I'm trying to remember something I did. Oh, it's one I'm getting ready to do. Apologize. There's a recipe I have coming up, and I think it's the Roggen beer. I can't remember now. But I did have an IPA that a friend made years ago, and I told him, it's got a very smooth mouth. There's something about this. And he said, it's salt. I added more salt than the recipe called for. So usually sodium chloride, table salt, is one of the minerals that's used to balance a water profile to match a particular style. I use a little bit of salt in every recipe just because my particular water is low in sodium, and so trying to bring up the best amount of sodium in the water, for every style I've brewed so far, I usually have to add just a fraction, sometimes less than a gram. But this has sea salt added, and you can tell it's not like, ooh, this is salty, but you can tell when you think about it, you're paying attention to it, that there's a presence there, that sodium, that little bit of salt can be detected. So anyway, that's enough. This is Briney Melon Gose by Anderson Valley, and this is Fred, FR5ED, over and out.